everybody. My name is David Morgan. I am Arlington's Conservation Agent and Environmental Planner. The June 23rd, 2026 meeting of the Arlington Conservation Commission will be conducted in a remote format consistent with state legislation that extends remote participation in public meetings till June 30th of next year. This meeting is being recorded and the recording may be made publicly available. All of the materials for the meeting are available at the link I put in the chat just now. Please note that the Zoom chat feature is, may be used for questions and comments that contribute to the Commission's proceedings, and if it's used otherwise, may be disabled at the Chair's discretion. Public comment period will follow each hearing tonight. The Commission encourages attendees to ask questions and offer comments during that public comment period. Chuck Turney is the Commission Chair. He'll facilitate tonight's meeting, and we take each vote with a roll call vote. We begin with a review of the agenda and attendance. So to you, Chuck, for that.
All right, thanks, David. It's 7:02, July 23rd, 2026. We'll start out with reviewing the minutes and then briefly discuss correspondence, get into our discussion items with water bodies, tree committee, Sims, fishing line, and end with an administrator's report. We have certificate of compliance for Mystic Lake Drive and 3 hearings tonight. We'll end tonight's session by going into executive session to approve minutes. And with that, I will take attendance. So Mike Gilderscame.
Present.
Nathaniel Stevens. Susan Chapnick.
Here.
David White.
Here.
David Kaplan. Brian McBride.
Here.
Associate members Sarah Alfaro Franco.
Present.
And Eileen Coleman. Okay, with that, we'll go right into our first item on the list, which is we're going to review the minutes. I believe these are from July
9th.
July 9th.
Let's just see. I guess Nathaniel was the only full member absent that night, so everybody was there. Approved the prior minutes. Some edits made. David White, I guess, updated the section on the Water Bodies Working Group report. Usual updates. And Susan, you put these together, right?
Yes, Jackie did a draft and I edited her draft. I didn't think it was worth putting track changes in for the person who is doing the draft that goes out to the whole commission. It just gets too cumbersome because that's the draft that's going to the commission. So I didn't do it in track changes.
That is okay.
Okay.
We talked 26. Dudley that night, just to continue it. 91 Sunnyside. We had asked for additional materials on the engineering and stormwater infiltration. Also bumped the Reed Street conversation to tonight. And meeting adjourned. Actually, don't have a timestamp on that one.
Oh, I thought it was on mine. That's interesting. On my version.
Cut off or something? I don't know.
I don't know. I can check that. Because my version is different. I know that Jackie does it in Word and then takes it back or something. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I believe it needs to be in Word to
Okay,
get uploaded to the website and then.
got it.
Yeah, I do it on the website and then it turns it into a Word. But then since we have to edit it, we have to do that in Word. I think I have the draft here. Oh no, that's a different one. I'll find it and find
No, it didn't have the
adjourn
time on the meeting adjourn. That's interesting. We forgot to put the timestamp on. I think both you and I forgot that, Jackie, so maybe you can just go to the end of the recording and see what time it was.
Okay.
Great. So without any more comments, can I get motion?
Move to approve the minutes as
Mike
presented.
Gildas-Game, second.
Second, Brian?
Brian McBride. Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Mike Gildas-Game,
Yes.
and Chuck Teroni says yes. So minutes are approved. Moving on to correspondence. Correspondence
Just
received.
one quick piece to bring to the commission's attention because it was concerning a development project opposite the high school in an area that the residents claimed had a spring. It's not mapped, it's not jurisdictional. We don't have any evidence to suggest that it should be, other than reports of high groundwater, which of course are common in Arlington. So just wanted to point that out to you because it is in front of the redevelopment board and I think was already approved. So just
So
wanted to
David,
call
is
attention
this
to that.
correspondence or is this administrator's report? What is this? What is this that you're doing?
Correspondence from Stephen Vey, who wrote in about 12 Lockland Ave.
Okay. And so that's the update. Any questions from the commission?
Do we need to respond in any way to a letter like this?
With correspondence, I think that our response would be to acknowledge the letter, decide whether it needs to be on a future agenda, and or if any more discussion or actions need to take place. But that's you can't go too much beyond that. And I think what David's telling us on this one here is it's not jurisdictional.
Yeah. And Brian, to be clear, I responded and said essentially what Chuck just said.
Oh, okay. Just want to close the loop with the correspondent.
All right, Brian. All right, for other correspondence, it's all available on the public page for the Conservation Commission. If you're having trouble finding that, reach out to David Morgan. And I don't know if you did this, David, but David usually provides a chat, a link in the chat, and he'll get to that soon if he hasn't done that already. Moving on from there, we have our discussion items. The first item on our list is the Water Bodies Working Group with an update from David White.
Okay, we have a lot today. Spy Pond. A treated brutal naiad last Thursday. My understanding is that's pretty effective treatment with that. We have a concern about the eroded bank near Scannon Field. It needs to be somehow addressed at some point. We also like to have new signage for the planting area at Spy Pond Park. I think David was going to price that for us.
Yes. So the last time, actually, I'm going to pull up the budget to double check the numbers while we're talking about it. But this is a request for signage for the planting areas at Spy Pond Park that just say revegetation area, the town seal on it. So it sort of formalizes the work that's happening there. And also for the pink plants signage that's through our Conservation Land Stewards program. And I'm looking now to confirm the numbers, but what I'm hoping the commission be willing to consider is sort of an upper threshold about, how much we want to cap spending at, because I don't have a cost estimate in hand.
David,
The
are we
last-
going to be voting on this tonight? Because it's not on the agenda as a vote and it's only under discussion items.
Suppose that's a good point.
It might give you time
Chair's
to,
discretion.
let's see whether, let's see if you can win me over, I guess, as best I can say. What are you looking for? What do we have
How
and
much?
what are you looking for? Yeah.
So the last time we did it, we got, I believe it was 5, maybe 6 pink plant signs and 1, maybe 2 of the revegetation area signs. And that total was $197. So I would request that we just bump that up to 300 or something like that, and make a small purchase of a couple extra of both.
Okay. What do we have in the account?
It's a great question. I don't actually have access to accounts anymore. I got bumped when we changed account numbers and everything, so I have to request that information. It's ample for certain. I mean, last time we looked, it was a combined 15,000, 17,000, somewhere in that range. I can add that we just deposited a $300 check today. Is that when you overcheck?
So yeah, this time it seems like it's a little bit of money, and are the signs ready to go? This is something you're ready to place an order either tomorrow or next week, and it can't wait for our next meeting when we have it correctly on the agenda.
Up to you. Yes, they are ready to go. Basically the same format as the last times. Some of our volunteers requested some tweaks to the pink plants sign, so I would just do those quickly and send it off.
All right, so it sounds like you can do that and have that out the door next week. So let's move forward with a vote if the rest of the
Chuck, I
commission
have
agrees.
my hand up
I have a
before you
question
go.
too. Which funds are they coming from?
Yeah, I had my hand up for a while. Can I have the floor for a minute?
You sure can.
Thank you. So we have to decide what budget this is coming from. So
Yes.
it can come out of water bodies. I think it's totally appropriate to come out of there. It could come out of miscellaneous or could come out of Spy Pond. I think there's plenty of money in both of those budgets. I think David White would agree with me. If you're going to have it come out of the fees, that's fine too. But we need to make a decision
Where it comes from.
where best this should come from. And I would like to know accounting. I'm disappointed that you don't have access to that anymore. And so I think that we should get some kind of an accounting update on all our funds. I don't know, at least twice a year.
Periodically.
We have to know where we stand. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
So David Morgan, is it just something that hasn't happened yet? Or is this you always have to request to find out what's in the funds?
I have to ask. However, we have a separate tracker from the town's accounting system for the water bodies fund, and I know that has $57,097, in it at present. I just don't know what the fees funds contain. And I should have clarified that last time we made this purchase, it came from the Water Bodies Fund, and so I was requesting the same.
Okay, I think that answers Susan's question. Any other hands up? I don't see any, so if your hand's up for a commission member, let me know.
We also have stewards funds too for the land trust, other source. Anyway,
Okay.
work it out.
All right, so can we get a motion to purchase signs up to $300 out of the Water Bodies Working Group, Water Bodies Fund?
I make a
I'll do that.
motion as
Susan.
stated.
Sure. Susan Chapnick, second.
Second.
I'll second it.
I think that was Brian McBride first. And so we're going to go with Mike Gildersgame. Mike says yes, hand gesture. David White.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
and Chuck Tirone says yes. Okay.
Oh,
And Brian McBride has his hand up.
yeah. Sorry, this is maybe a little awkward. I wanted to ask Susan if this is a time to discuss our tree project, or if it's better another time.
Yeah, it's not a secret. Brian and I are working on having a tree planted in honor of Nathaniel. And we're working with different folks on that. But I don't think we're ready for a vote, and I think we'd want to put it on the agenda. So maybe we can talk to Chuck about whether it would be okay for the next meeting. But
All
thanks,
right.
Brian,
So
for
water
moving it
body stuff
along.
too.
Yeah.
Sure. I just thought because the person was not attending tonight.
Oh, okay. I don't think we can keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I hear you. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Sure.
To
I
continue,
guess, yeah, sure. Thank you. I was just going to say, David or Jackie, make a note for our agenda review meeting to have this item on there to discuss.
Thanks.
okay. To continue, people are still managing fishing line at Spy Pond. Brad is doing the water work. People working from shore as well. And we are trying to coordinate who's doing what so they can know what's going on. That's ongoing work, collaboration. Hills Pond, tested and treated for algae. It's looking in good shape generally. Also, fishing line work is ongoing in terms of managing that. The reservoir was tested last week, and the water chestnut level is down. We have curly-leaf pondweed taking its place. So that's a future thing to consider. We also have people working the fishing line matter, including Steve Mattingly from Lexington, who's helping us with that. McLennan, the no-mow zone is looking good. We have birds, Canada geese, and a great blue heron in the pond there. And fishing line matters. Carolyn White from our Water Buddies group attended the fishing line working group meeting and brought some notes back from that. Now we can leave that till later, or maybe leave it till later. But it's
I think Susan's going to give an
Yeah.
update on the fishing line working group. All right.
Susan is
Any
not because
questions
she
about the
didn't
water
go.
bodies?
But
Do you want to go over those minutes from Carolyn White, or do you want David to do it now?
David could do it now. I think
Okay.
that would be fine. Thank you.
Are we
Okay,
talking
so-
me, David, or David White?
Whoever's quickest.
David, I think you have the
I have the notes
minutes
right here.
open. Yeah.
Well, Carolyn is our liaison. She reported some items from the meeting on Tuesday. First, no temporary ban, no shaming, focus on education, possibly designated fishing areas, signage, perhaps a permit for an online training. And action items are basically to connect various people together who are doing this work so they know each other and work together on things. And did she update you on Susan about the meeting?
No, not personally. I need to reach out to her. I also want to know if they scheduled the next meeting, so I can see if I'm available.
Things are moving.
I'll reach out to her. Thank you. Or Mike has his hand up.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I see that Mike has his, so Mike Gilsgame?
Yeah, quick question. There was some mention of a permit. What was that all about?
There's an idea that was floated at the meeting. Nothing definite.
Permit to fish, you mean?
Yeah, I think a local permit
Fish, yeah.
for fishing, yeah.
A local permit, maybe. These are all just things she threw out. I don't know what the status is, but they were discussed at the meeting.
I think they were brainstorming.
I think so
Right,
too, yeah.
yeah.
I think they were. Nothing definite decided. That's what I have.
Okay, thank you, David White. We're going to move on to our tree committee liaison, Sarah Alfaro Franco.
I did not attend last week's tree committee meeting. It was one of those days where we had lots of bad, bad air quality, courtesy of wildfires in Canada. Jackie, did you attend that meeting?
Yes, I was there.
Okay.
Um,
Chuck, is it okay for me to ask Jackie?
Sure.
Sorry about that.
Jackie, do you want to step in? Give us an update?
yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any super major updates other than that I am now a co-chair of the tree committee, potentially temporarily, because we have some issues with membership and we now only have 4 valid members until the Attorney General approves our town meeting warrant. So we're waiting to have all the other members reinstated, but one of the co-chairs, Keith Schnebley, is moving out of town and had to step down. So we're going to be down to 3 until the new or the old members get reinstated.
Jackie, just for my knowledge, who are the other 2?
Steve Moore is co-chair, and Karen Thomas Allier is the other member. She's relatively new.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So is it typical in Arlington for staff to be chair and vice chair? Or is this an unusual situation? I'm just wondering.
I
Not
don't
necessarily.
know. Tell you.
Like
It's not a distinction that we generally make.
Are you going to throw your hand in the ring for for the Conservation Commission when it comes up? I mean, is this an approved situation where staff can be chair and vice chair? I was wondering. That sounds.
Yeah, I asked
I haven't
David
heard
and
that
he said it
before.
was okay, so that's all.
Oh, David. Okay.
Also, she is a resident of Arlington.
It's true.
I don't know if that
And
So
matters,
she could
Susan,
be,
because
as a resident, she could, rather than as her.
I think
her
we're.
staff.
Yeah, I know I had that same question, Chuck, but
I'm not buying that, Susan. I think
Hmm.
she's working for the town
Okay.
as a resident. So, but
technically, you're
hey,
all town staff, so
I'm good. Yeah,
it works.
I mean, we couldn't have David as a co-chair of Concom.
Oh my God, I think he's unofficially the co-chair, as most administrators are. Okay, let's move on. Just wanted to put you on the spot a little bit, Jackie, with your appointment. So, anything from Sims tonight? And that would be Brian McBride.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since our last executive session meeting and the subsequent feedback. I haven't, yeah, there's no new developments in the last week that I'm aware of. Nathaniel may have heard something that I didn't catch, but I don't believe so.
All right. And we're going to skip right to the administrator's report. Administrator's report.
Nothing additional on my end. Jackie, is there
Great.
anything from you? No? Okay.
Sorry.
I see. All right. I guess we're clapping here. Okay.
Actually, I was trying to raise my hand and I clapped. Not that
Oh, so
David's
you have
comment
something to
wasn't
say,
interesting.
Brian? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just about the CPA, if you don't mind, Chuck. So, David, I'm wondering, we tried last year to do a CPA request for enhancement of Concom properties with signage and maybe trail enhancements and, benches or, et cetera, et cetera. We had a long list of things we thought might be potential enhancements that might be funded by CPA. But at the end of the day, we turned in a different direction. So I just want to maybe start your thinking, David Morgan, about this coming October, and I'm happy to sit down with you and support you in any way. But I'd love to have we talked about Meadowbrook Park and Windows on the Mystic last year, and I think those are probably still good ideas. I'd love to have two kick butt proposals to CPA on funding requests for enhancement at those two properties, and we have some months to go, and we could do a nice job.
I agree. Right off the bat, I would say Meadowbrook Park would be the more advantageous one to pursue because we've got CDBG funds right now at work on advancing the concept design for Meadowbrook Park. And if we get up to like 25% design or something like that, then we can say, we'll take it to 75 and then, get a little closer to construction. So,
oh, fabulous.
Yeah, timely, good suggestion. And I'm happy to meet.
Yeah, I'll send you a note. Okay, thanks, Chuck. That's all I had.
Sure. David White hasn't signed up.
I wonder if all our Concom properties have ID signs on them. Maybe that could be done simply.
That might help encroachment issues in the future. I know there's a little one near me that they're always putting something on the property, the neighbors, and I think if they just don't know, and if there was signage, it would help. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, maybe when you figure out your signage for your CPA request, you can bring it back to the commission, and it sounds like David White might have some additional areas.
I actually have one sign in my garage from years ago.
Oh, I'd love to see it, David. Maybe you could share it with me and David Morgan. Yeah. Maybe you could be part of our team.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on. Don't see any hands up, so we move on. So the next item on our agenda is a DEP file number 91-352. It's a request for certificate of compliance at 5 and 7 Mystic Lake Drive. We usually turn this over to Jackie or David. So which one is going to update us on our site visit report and compliance for the certificate of compliance?
Sorry,
Looks like it's David Morgan.
On this one, I can walk you through this site. I just had photos to share, so I'm going to present on this one. This is an old application for a certificate of compliance. We received this a couple of years back, and all the paperwork was complete, and we, verified over a series of site visits in the intervening years that everything was done to spec. Here's the access port for the subsurface containment system, stormwater containment system. Plantings here in the backyard. Jackie and I viewed this. I guess it was the 10th of this month. And you can see a couple of them. That little guy's probably dead. But even the ones that had sort of been either eaten or died back a little bit were beginning to grow anew. So they met the threshold for vegetation survivability rate, opposite angle. Front plantings, these were not jurisdictional, but some had been added. One notable difference was that this is pea gravel or something on the left-hand side driveway that was replaced. This was grass in the proposal, now gravel, not impervious, so I don't think that it rises to the level of concern. Tied in the downspouts. There's the other driving area, and in fact, this area was presented as mulch in the plans. It was actually, I believe, meant to connect from there to the planting area that's behind me in this photo and to my left. But they've maintained it as turf grass instead, which I think is favorable. Also, you notice the other downspout tied in on that corner. More of the front yard. And that would be it for photographs. As I say, they've submitted everything certifying that's to spec. John Barrows, the engineer, stamped the letter saying that there's an as-built plan included, and everything's in substantial compliance. Based on Jackie and my site visits over the years, we can confirm and recommend approval. Chuck, you're muted.
I see that David White has his hand up.
I just wonder who's in the lawn maintenance. Looks very barren, as if they're mowed every week or so. It doesn't look healthy at all.
The lawn?
Yeah.
Drought.
There.
Yeah.
The drought, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It has been drought.
It's
and
cut very close. Cut very close, too.
Yeah, it is. It's mowed quite low. You're right. The applicants actually reached out because they wanted to do additional plantings, especially in the mulch bed area, I think. And so there's more to come. We gave them guidance on the native plantings and so forth, and I think they're going to try and fill in some.
David, in your presentation, did you let us know? I had to get a light for a sec, but I might have missed it. Did you let us know what jurisdictional areas we're working with here at this site? Is it just floodplain?
Floodplain for sure. A touch of it might be in riverfront area. Let me see if I got the form. I'm pretty sure I have the order open here. So
yeah, I was just wondering if it was all just floodplain. Okay. And while you're looking, I'm going to go to Susan Chapnick.
Thank you. That was my question, then, that I noticed that the fence, which I don't know if it's existing or new for the project, didn't look like it had clearance underneath it. Now, if it's just floodplain and they have enough flood storage, maybe that's not an issue. But if it's riverfront, you'd probably want some passage.
it is riverfront. Let me see. I think it's just the angle that I took the photo at.
Okay, that could
Because
be.
the side facing, I remember checking for that and thinking that it was sufficient. And
It might be because I can't tell with the turf and the mulch and stuff, so maybe I couldn't see.
I mean, it might be a little bit built up with mulch, but
Okay, I see what you're saying. Sure. And if you are going to have a continued dialogue with them, you can tell them to pull the mulch away a little bit.
this is the front actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you can see there's
That's better.
additional.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, thank you. That was my question.
All right. Any other comments or motions from the Conservation Commission?
So David, I had one, I'm sorry. Did you complete the certificate of compliance paperwork, and were there any continuing conditions that we should be aware of?
The continuing conditions are pretty basic on this one. I'm pretty sure it's just restricted chemical use and, our other typical conditions. I'm looking quickly over it now. Yeah, just maintaining mitigation area in perpetuity, the chemicals one, and standards for planting.
Okay. Did I miss the form that you usually fill out and you list those?
No, I think we didn't get
You
to
didn't do
this.
it? Okay. If you could just do that for the file, I think it's important when we go back to these things in the future and we forget what happened. It's good to have that
I
with
think
your
I might
picture.
have done it earlier, like several months ago,
Oh,
but it
okay.
might not be up
Before.
to date anymore.
Okay.
You
Thanks,
can check.
Jackie. Appreciate it. I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 57 Mystic Lake Drive.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Mike Gilderscame. David White.
You
Yeah.
look frozen.
Brian McBride.
Yes.
Mike Gilderscame.
Yes.
Susan Chapnick.
Yes.
And Chuck Teroni says yes. So we do have four. David, oh, there you are. David, what's your vote on this certificate of compliance?
Okay, yes.
Okay, great. All right. And we move on. So now we are into our hearings, and our first hearing is, does this have a file number? This 0 Reed Street?
I will check DEP now, but as of earlier this week, it did not.
No, I just
Okay.
checked. It doesn't have one.
Okay.
Okay. So DEP has not issued a file number for a notice of intent at 0 Reed Street. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to consider a notice of intent for construction of a single-family home, an accessory at 0 Reed Street. Areas proposed to be altered include the buffer zone and the adjacent upland area. So I'm not sure who's here for that. I've seen several people, but if you could just raise your hand. David Swanson, I just turned on. Is this who I'm talking to? Or Nicholas?
Yes.
All right. So David, I'm gonna ask you two things. You're gonna introduce yourself for the record, and then let us know who's on your team so we can call on them if needed.
Awesome. David Swanson, Kinvara Capital, speaking on behalf of 0 Reed Street. Additional members from my team are Matthew Moore and Ryan Wittig. They said they were on here. And then I also see a couple of folks from the LEC environmental team, Nicole Ferreira and Rich Kirby. Not sure how much their input will be taken into account tonight, or their comments, I should say, since we're still kind of working through the process. So, but appreciate everyone's time. 0 Reed Street, interesting lot. For those that don't know, we went through a pretty extensive process with the town to determine the actual lot itself before getting to here. So we've already had several discussions about the lot itself, and now we're on to the conservation piece. So we are here to talk with the Conservation Commission about developing a single family home and ultimately getting to a vote to approve any sort of plan in place that we could build it within the wetland boundaries. And so at its current state, we have done a wetlands delineation survey. I think part of the reason the DEP number is not ready is the full survey of mapping out the flags is coming. We should have that next week. So that'll be added to the application. I know that's been that was, I think, part of the comment from DEP that I received from David Morgan and Jackie. But so our goal for today is introduce the project, get an understanding of what we need to do to gain approval to build within the wetland boundaries, and ultimately, what that footprint within the boundaries looks like. What all does that constitute from a building perspective? Does that include driveways? Does that include walkways, or is it just the footprint of the building? I think we're just trying to get an understanding of what we can and can't do within the boundaries, and open it up to the commission for comments, feedback, and some direction. And the buffer zones that we are looking to build within are, I believe, the wetlands vegetation, which I think is a 50-foot no build buffer. And then if you guys do look at the lot, there is a stream or a creek of sorts that goes down the right side. It was determined, I believe, by David Morgan and Jackie that it is not a perennial was it perennial riverfront, I believe. So we were concerned about that, which would make it a little bit unviable to build, but that's been determined it is not the case. So really just trying to get clarity on what we can do within the bordering vegetation wetlands.
So David, let me just ask you a few questions before we go on to the commission or other comments from your group. You said at the last thing you said was that Arlington staff determined that that stream was an intermittent stream and it's not a perennial stream. Did your wetland scientist also make an independent evaluation of that stream? And do you know, or has that happened, or do you expect that to happen in the future?
It is noted in their delineation survey, and I am trying to pull it up right now. I think they came to the same conclusion, that they didn't believe it, but it was to be confirmed by the commission.
Okay. They didn't believe it. They didn't believe that it was intermittent. Well, we'll have to read that. My next point is that you came into the Conservation Commission. I would call it a little bit unprepared, and we're looking at a plan. We rely on data, and we'd like to see the data stamped and signed. And what we're working with is like a desktop approximation of a wetland line drawn off a GIS, I don't know, something.
Sure.
Myself, I'm going to find it hard to talk about the wetland line because I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. I don't know exactly where it is. I'd feel more comfortable with the one you seem to be coming in within another 2 weeks. And I really wish we started at that point. This is especially when you have that kind of waiting in the wings. I'm surprised that we're here tonight, looking at, like I said, I'm going to call it a desktop approximation
Sure.
map. So that's my comments. I don't know what other commissioners think, but I'll leave it at that, and I'll follow up with some comments after I hear from everyone. I see that Mike Gildesgame has his hands up right now. I would only ask, are you finished with your presentation, David? And can I move on to the commissioners?
Yes, yes, I can respond to your comment on the timing, but I'll take it through the commission and then we can continue with any comments afterwards.
Sure. Mike.
Well, I was just a little confused, and I see 3 David Swansons on my screen, and I thought for the record we might want to have the actual folks, whoever they may be, sign in.
Interesting.
I don't
I
know
know
if
there's
I'm,
another David Swanson in Arlington. There's some confusion between myself and that specific David Swanson. I don't know if it's the
Yeah,
same one
I'm
from.
seeing I'm seeing 3.
This is Matt Moore. I'm on Team Kinvara here, and the other David Swanson is Ryan Wittig. We're all representing the same team here. We just happen to be using the same link to sign in.
Got it. Thanks.
I'm Ryan Wittig. Hello.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I think we have your team identified now. Any other comments, Mike, or can I just turn this over to Susan? Susan
Turn it
Chapman.
over to Susan. Yep.
Sorry, I was on mute. Um, so at a minimum, I totally agree with Chuck Tirone. I think this NOI wasn't really ready to present to the commission. We rely on data to make decisions and we don't have the proper data. That said, since we're here already, could we, either Jackie or David Morgan, can you put up what's in the proposal? At least just the sketch so we get an idea of what we're talking about. Based on that sketch, in my opinion, I hate to give you the bad news, David, but in my opinion, it's not a buildable lot based on the Arlington wetland regulations, where the adjacent upland resource area, what we call the aura, which is 100 feet from any stream, even if it's, well, we don't know if the stream's intermittent or not, or if it's a real stream, so I'll put that aside. But from BBW, so just to explain, in the state, under the State Wetlands Protection Act, you have 100-foot buffer, a buffer zone. And the state allows a lot of things to happen in the buffer zone, with conditions. We're stricter in the town of Arlington. We have we have 100-foot jurisdictional area. It's jurisdictional wetland. You're not supposed to do anything in it. We do make certain allowances for working in the outer part of our aura. That's the outer 50 to 100 feet. And we have standards for that in our regulations. We do understand that there are non-conforming lots already in Arlington with structures on them. But when we have a lot that's not built, you're going to have a hard time with that and with this aura. That said, I will also explain, because you seem to want some clarity on what you could put where. We count a structure. A structure is a structure. That's a building. That's a driveway if it's permeable, if it's not pervious. So any structure that is not pervious, a shed, stairways, a deck if it's not pervious, those are all structures that are not allowed in the jurisdictional area. So I don't want to speak too much more about that because we kind of don't know the lines for sure. But when I'm just looking at this map, I'm real. I think you're going to have a really hard time fitting anything in there compliant with our local regulations. I'll say that. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Susan. And I do think looking at this Mass GIS map, I think it takes away from your project. I'm not sure if Rich is here to speak, but since Susan opened up the can, if Rich is here to speak, it might be interesting to hear that, or it can be saved. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but we did start talking about the wetland line. So there's a lot of lines on this map. Someone has to explain them to us and to everyone watching, because we just want to make sure that we have an understanding of what's your property, where your property is, what lines are the stream, what lines are the wetland, all that.
So if I could just take a moment.
Sure.
Kirby from LEC, thanks. So LEC was retained to delineate the wetland resource area boundaries and prepare a sketch for a surveyor to go out, locate our flags. This sketch is not intended for public distribution, or in fact, there's a qualifier in the top right corner there. So I'm not sure how it made it into the notice of intent application, but we haven't been involved since the delineation. So we're here for 26 Dudley tonight. We're not really prepared to talk about this site.
Okay. All right, Rich. Thanks for that. Okay. Understood. Okay. Back to the applicant. As you can see, we've created a little bit of confusion here. I don't know if you want to request a continuance to whenever you have the plan and some more information. Maybe you reach back out to LEC and then come back to the Conservation Commission. And I would say, just like anything, you want to give it your best shot, and you don't want to like take a half swing. So that would be my recommendation, that you, even though, we're here, you can't make that, if you, so you can make the request, but I still have to hear from the people who came here tonight to talk about this. But if we know that you're just going to continue into our next meeting, I think that might take a little bit of the conversation away from any abutters. So our next meeting would be, as I see it, August 13th. If you think you can have everything available, let's see, what's our date? Our date is, if it's the 13th, it would be, we would need your material by the 5th. Think I have that right? Correct me if I'm wrong, David Morgan.
Bear with me while I get the dates.
Sure. As you're looking at the dates, I see that I see that someone's raising their hand. I'm not sure if they're with you or not. Is
That's part
Nicholas,
of the public. It's a member of the
okay.
public.
Hold off, Nicholas. Hold off a minute.
Well, David Morgan's looking that up. Yes, we would like to continue to that next meeting. We plan on having our survey of the flags mapped out. That's been a little bit of a challenge trying to get the surveyor out there. There was a previous survey done, so we were trying to work with him, and there was a whole another story that I won't bore you with. So that actually took more time than we would have liked, and obviously wanted it for this meeting. But while the board probably feels it wasn't quite a productive meeting, it was certainly helpful for us to get a sense of kind of where the thought stands right now, kind of the uphill battles that we have to go with. And obviously you raise a fantastic and fair point. That data is the key to every decision. So we will have that data. We'll get the actual survey done and get that over to you guys before the next meeting. And we can take that from there with more data and actual lines that will be ready to go.
Sure. All right, thank you. And with that, I don't see any hands up from the commission. I think that's appropriate. And I'm gonna ask anyone attending tonight's meeting to either raise their hand or just let us know. You can just raise your hand up in the video and I'll call on you. And I think Nicholas had his hand up. Did you want to speak now?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great.
Just
Yeah.
introduce your first and last name for the record, please?
Yeah. I'm Nicholas Corso. Go by Nick. I live at 11 Reed Street, which is the property essentially across from 0 Reed Street. But based on what I'm hearing, I might just think it's best to save my comments to the next meeting. But I will just put on the table that there are a number of concerned abutters, including me, with this proposed build of a single house there. And a number of them go around water, flooding, and wildlife concern, and vegetation and tree replacement and those kind of items. But I'll hold off to the next meeting. I think it'd be more appropriate then.
All right. Let me just find out that's August 6th. The materials are due by 7/29. David, I don't see anyone else raising their hands who's attending tonight's meeting.
Just interrupt a minute too?
Sure, Patricia, sure.
Patricia Alejandro. I live at 6 Reed Street in Arlington, and I did reach out to our neighborhood, and I did get feedback from a lot of our neighbors. I do have letters, I do have signatures, I have a lot of comments. We are really worried about the flooding in the wetlands. My yard abuts the wetland in the back, and I know recently we haven't had a lot of, recently we've had a lot of rain, but prior to the years we haven't, so it hasn't really been all of that issue. But in the past, I've been here 30 years, when we've had a lot of rain, the water does come up to my yard almost. And I think the neighbors who live on that side of the street also have that worry of if the wetland, and we know if you alter the land, water has a way of finding its way somewhere. And I think the neighborhood, from what I've gotten back from the feedback, is that's where we're mostly worried about: the floodings, the wetlands, the devastation of the trees and the nature behind there. We do have, a really nice area back there, the wetland, the conservation land. So again, we'll talk about it at the next meeting, but I do have a lot of people in the neighborhood who are thinking and hoping and willing to fight to probably not have this go forward. And if you need those letters or signatures, I don't know how to get them to you, if that would help in this kind of aspect of it.
So I would encourage you to send those or scan and send those to David Morgan
Okay.
at Town Hall, and then
Okay.
we would post those. Um, David Swanson, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you own the lot?
We're under contract.
Did the owner of the lot sign the notice of intent?
We are working on behalf of the owner.
The owner of the lot needs to sign the notice of intent, from my understanding. So could you take care of that between meetings? Update those
Sure.
pages?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions from people attending tonight's meeting? I see about
Yeah, that's
Cell?
yeah.
Yeah, Seal.
Just building off of what Patricia just said, is there anything else the people living on that street can do or provide you to make a stronger case for not having the project go forward?
So we take testimony from abutters, and we would like to. So we're not there all the time. So we'd like to know what you know about the project, or about the land, about the flora and fauna that's out there, any water patterns that may not be obvious from the plans, and that's what you can bring to the meeting. Unfortunately, just having everyone abutting a property not wanting it, there's not an allowance in the WPA to make that a consideration. We have to stick to our rules and regulations on the WPA and our own wetlands protection bylaw. And so I would also encourage everyone to read the application and look at our regulations in the WPA, and I mean, the applicant is supposed to prove that they can meet the standards in the act. And so that's what we're looking for. And so the abutters can also do that, plus the testimony and like I said, like water patterns and things like that. So that's what I have. Any other commissioners want to add what abutters can bring to the next meeting? And I encourage you to write to the commission with this information, because we don't often allow everyone to say something. If there's 50 people that want to talk, and you get cut down to 2 minutes. So your letter first would be a great first step.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Any other comments from commissioners? Any other comments from anyone attending tonight's meeting?
I would just say that we do encourage communication, as Chuck just said, written as well as verbal communication, at these Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
And we do post them. And the areas, we wouldn't expect you to understand the Wetlands Protection Act or even our regulations, which are.
We never know who's out there.
You never know. I guess you never know. I know Nick Corso, and he's a smart fella, so he might delve into it. But what I would encourage you to do is look at what we try to protect under the Wetlands Protection Act and our bylaw. What are we protecting? And talk about those things in your neighborhood. And if you look at just the beginning of our regulations, and they're posted online under the Conservation Commission website, it tells you what our jurisdiction is and what we're protecting. And so talk about that. Talk about flooding. Talk about wildlife habitat, talk about, pervious, impervious surfaces, talk about buffer zones around wetland jurisdiction areas, talk about streams, etc. You'll see those bullet points. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
All right, great. No, any other comments from commissioners, or if no comments, can I get a motion to continue this to the August 6th meeting? And like I said, the information needs to be at David's office by July 29th. So motion to continue to,
I'll make that motion.
that's David White made the motion. Second,
Second.
Mike Gildersgame. Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Mike Gildersgame,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
and Chuck Tironi says yes. Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank
Thanks
you,
everyone for showing up. All right. Moving right along, we have 91 Sunnyside. So we're going to open the hearing for 91-378, notice of intent for 91 Sunnyside. It was continued from 7/9/2026. The Conservation Commission holds a public hearing to consider the notice of intent for construction of an addition to a single-family home, sunroom, carport, expansion and replacement of deck, stairs, replacement of landing, grading, and utilities at 91 Sunnyside Ave. Areas proposed to be altered include the buffer zone, adjacent upland resource area, and bordering land subject to flooding, and the riverfront associated with Ilway Brook. And I believe Maureen Harold would be here. So Maureen, can you introduce yourself for the record and update us on the project?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental Services. So at the last commission meeting, we had a hiccup, and that was the rooftop infiltration. There was a question as to whether or not it was designed in the water table. And in fact, it was designed in the water table. So I spoke to Jack Sullivan, who is the design engineer. He took another look at the plan, and he revised the plan to show a 5-foot by 15-foot stone field with a 4-inch perforated pipe. This can handle the 2, 10, and 25-year storm event for the roof addition. And he also provided HydroCAD calculations as well. And I believe that was the last concern or only concern that the commission had. And I can open it up with any questions.
Sure, and I'd like to turn it right to I did see that the updates were made. I understand. My only question when I looked at it was why just one pipe, but was that new plan stamped?
Yes, I can bring it in if you want to see it, but Jack did stamp it and provide the calculations as well.
Okay. That's going to cover my questions for that part. Does anyone else here on the commission have any questions about 91 Sunnyside and the new material?
I just wanted to say that thank you for looking at this and redesigning it so that it's going to work. And I think that it is a greatly improved project with the compensatory flood storage you added under the stairs like Chuck suggested and various other plantings that we recommended. And I'm sorry that I think it was Dave Kaplan who questioned whether this infiltration unit was in the groundwater table. So I wanted to thank him, but he's not even here. So I thank him in absentia. But I think this is a good solution. Thank you, Maureen.
Sure.
Anyone else want to talk about the plans and the updates? Anybody attending tonight's meeting have any comments on 91 Sunnyside? Seeing none, back to the commission. Any more comments or motions?
I make a motion to close the hearing.
Susan Chapnick makes a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
So that would be Brian McBride. And to close the hearing, Mike Gilderscame.
Yes.
And wait a minute, David White,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
and Chuck Troni says yes. Let's talk about conditions. Any conditions need to be, do you think any conditions are warranted besides our boilerplate conditions?
I was wondering if there are any special conditions for this new gravel area with the perforated pipe. Is there any kind of operation and maintenance that needs to be done to make sure that area stays clear and infiltrates? I'm just asking because I'm not as familiar with that.
There is.
Maureen, if you, yeah, it's
Oh.
okay if you want to answer.
Yeah, so there is an overflow area off the gutter line that's part of the design. I think it's really more or less just maintaining the gutters, making sure that they're clear of leaves and debris, that type of things. And there is an inspection port on the plan for the pipe itself, so they will be able to inspect it and check it out if need be.
And did you put in, we forgot to ask that so we could put it as a condition. Did you put in an operation and maintenance on how many times a year it should be inspected? What does that entail or anything like that?
You know what? I didn't even think about that, Susan.
We could put it in as a condition. I mean, we can.
Sure. I can have Jack write something up and submit it to Dave. That's not a problem.
Okay. What do you think, Chuck?
A little unusual. I don't see how we could move forward without looking at that. Why don't we come up with some? I mean, I think the inspection should be twice a year for the first 3 years. I think that they would definitely want to maintain the gutters and downspouts and check those again twice a year, summer and fall, or spring and fall. Making sure the leaves, it looks like the point where this thing would fail would be where the leaves are. And we also would prefer that they kept a log. So if something came up, we could look back and make sure that what we asked to have happen actually did happen. That's where I'm at. David Morgan, you do this also. You can think of anything else what you would need for an operation maintenance plan for such a, I'm going to say, pretty simple infiltration area. I mean, it's basically a taco with a pipe in it.
I think that covers it. I guess. Are there additional? No, there are no additional pervious surfaces being installed on site, right?
No.
So it's just the addition and the infiltration area. Then no, I don't have anything additional. It is planted, right?
What is planted?
The infiltration area on the left side of the driveway if you're looking at the house.
Yes, so we are proposing like a wildflower seed mix over it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we do have our standard conditions about
For survivability.
survivability.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's the only thing I could really think of.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize the survivability went to the wildflower seed mix.
Well, it goes to
Right,
any
that makes
ground
sense.
cover. Yeah. I
Makes
think
sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Eileen Coleman. Hi, Eileen. We didn't know you were there. She had a good comment that there is something on the plan about, wait, let me read the comment. The 2-point O&M of the stormwater on the plan.
There is, Eileen, you are a lifesaver.
Yeah, if that helps, I was just looking at the plan while we were talking, and it does say drainage system O&M plan, inspected annually, and drain field inspected annually. Does that work?
I think it should be twice a year at the beginning, like Chuck said, because I don't know. What do you think, Chuck? Because we don't know what to expect.
Yeah, you overdo it when they first put in, so you understand how it's operating, and then you back off from that once you understand it's doing fine. So
Right.
that's why I said twice a year for the first three, but you can modify that if you want. I do think the gutters and downspouts do need to be inspected, as I said.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen.
Okay. All right. So any further conditions? If there are none, we could have a motion. Motion to issue would be what we're looking for.
I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 91 Sunnyside with the special conditions we just discussed about maintenance and inspection of the infiltration areas, the downspouts, and there's an inspection port, and keeping a log about these inspections and maintenance, and adding our other standard conditions on vegetation.
Did we close the hearing yet?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Closed it before.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it was Susan Chapnick and Brian McBride, first and second. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Mike Gildersgame. All right. David White.
Yes.
Brian McBride.
Yes.
Susan Chapnick.
Yes.
Mike Gildersgame.
Yes.
And Chuck Tirone says yes. All right. Maureen, you're all set. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Maureen.
Yeah, you
Thanks
have a
for
good
working
evening
with
too.
us. Take care.
All right. Moving right along. We're going to go into our third and final notice of intent for tonight. It's 19. Yeah, it's 19. It's 19. It's supposed to be 91, but 91375. It's a notice of intent for 26 Dudley Street, continued from 7/9/2026. The Conservation Commission holds a public hearing to consider a notice of intent to demolish a detached structure, construct 2 additions to a commercial structure, and repave a parking lot at 26 Dudley Street. Areas proposed to be altered, the outer riverfront associated with Millbrook. I'm not sure who's here for this. If you just Rich Kirby.
Yes.
Rich Kirby, introduce yourself for the record and update us.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Rich Kirby from LEC Environmental Consultants, and with me tonight, also from LEC, Nicole Ferrara. Also on the project team and here tonight, Christian Klein and the applicant, Greg Santini. We've been before the commission several times now, and I believe at the last hearing, we just had a couple of loose ends to tie up. One of which was a meeting with the town engineer, which happened last Friday morning, I believe. And town engineer seemed to be good with the design, just had one relatively minor comment on the stormwater operation and maintenance plan. If I could share my screen, I will review the changes with the commission. So
Please
let's see which of the 50 screens I have is the operation and maintenance plan. Bear with me here, please. There it is. Okay. So the town engineer's only comment was to add the street sweeping to the inspection log. So the inspection schedule and evaluation checklist. It's sideways here, but you can see pavement sweeping biannually. So that was added to the inspection log. Can you see the revised plans now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. We also modified the planting schedule for the offsite mitigation area. Specifically, Christian Klein modified the plans in a number of ways. First, he replaced the red maple with the ironwood. David Morgan had requested that I guess commission sees a lot of red maple and wanted a little bit more diversity. So we got rid of the red maple and replaced it with the ironwood. We also reduced the size from 4 to 6 feet to 2 to 4 feet. Sorry, 18 to 24 inches. And we did that because we had talked with Susan and other commission members about the issues that the self-storage facility next door was having. And so we were going to plant more small saplings as opposed to the fewer larger saplings. So a note on the plan was revised to a 2-to-1 planting schedule for the trees, the invasive trees to be removed instead of 1-to-1. And we also have this detail which requires the 18-inch tall chicken wire cages around the seedlings to keep the critters away from chowing down on the new plants. Lastly, we submitted a photometric plan, the bottom left here, which basically shows the spillage of light, if you will largely be on the subject property and not extend offsite into the certainly the Mill Brook, but will largely be within the footprint of the development. And I believe those were all the comments that we received at the last hearing. But I'm sure you will tell me if I'm missing something.
I thought we talked about snow storage a little bit also. I'm not sure if that was resolved at the last meeting. Can you just go over where the snow storage is going to take
Sure.
place
So it's actually
and what happens when it fills up?
Yep. So snow storage is going to be provided in this area here and a little bit over here. If the commission recalls, we added a couple of spot grades within this area and we're seeding it with a native pollinator mix. And so this will be slightly depressed. So as snow is stockpiled there and it melts, it'll infiltrate into the ground in place. Any snow that I believe the civil engineer, Fred Russell, indicated that area would accommodate, a few inches of snow, 2-3 inches of snow. And any snow beyond that would have to be trucked off site. And the applicant is aware of that.
Okay. Well, the plans are up. Any other comments from the commission? I hope I'm not stepping on your presentation.
No, that was it. I think I covered all of the comments that we had at the last meeting.
I see Susan Chapnick has her hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say, Rich and team, thank you for addressing all our comments. I know there were multiple comments on multiple meetings and continuations, and I think this is a much improved project with the snow storage being defined, with the 2-to-1 plantings of smaller plants, so we'll probably see more survivability. And I appreciate you working with us on this. I have no comments. I think that this is a good approach now.
Great. Further comments from the commission or motions? It would be a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Sorry, wait a minute.
Sorry. Oh, you forgot to do public comment.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone here at tonight's meeting would like to make a comment about this project at 26 Dudley? Please raise your hand or turn your video on and let us recognize you. Seeing none, back to you, Susan.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing for 26 Dudley, NOI.
I'll second.
David White, Susan Chapnick. So I'm going to go with Mike Gildersgame.
Yes.
Brian McBride.
Yes.
Susan Chapnick.
Yes.
And David White.
Yes.
And Chuck Tirone says yes. All right. Do we want to talk about conditions now? Any special conditions above and beyond what's written on the plan or in the operation and maintenance plan or our standard conditions?
I think I'd like to put in writing about the snow storage, the way Rich just said it, that um, snow storage shall be in areas as marked on the plan, and snow above and beyond what can be handled there will be trucked off site.
Yeah, but Rich, can you tell us what that was? It's something about 2 inches. I
Or
remember.
3 inches,
Yeah,
something like that.
hold on a second. I'm reading the O&M plan to see if that level of detail is in here. Ba, 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 ba. The O&M plan does state when designated snow storage areas are no longer capable of accommodating additional snow accumulation, excess snow shall be trucked off-site to an approved snow disposal location.
Yeah. Okay.
If
Can
you want to
you?
repeat that, I can share my screen. I suppose if you wanted to repeat that.
We can grab it from the operation maintenance plan. I think it's quite clear. I would expect you guys to fill it up as much as possible, and then at that point you could truck it off the site, not 2 to 3 inches. I think that would have been
Well, I'm
interesting.
saying 2 to 3 inches across the entire parking lot will likely
Oh,
fill up as piles
Yes,
in those designated
piles up.
areas. And then
That makes
beyond
gotcha.
more
that,
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
depending on how quickly it melts and all that sort of thing. You know, they may use it again. If we get back-to-back storms, they may need to truck it off site.
No,
It's a property management company that will be, that owns the building and will be operating out of it. So that's well within their wheelhouse to deal with that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense there, Rich. I actually just was talking past me. I was thinking of snow storage area, 2 to 3 inches, but I got it now. Susan, do you need to make a comment, a condition
I
about
was just
this,
going
or
to
do you think
say
it's
the
covered?
mitigation areas in perpetuity. So so normally we have plantings for 3 year survivability, but isn't this mitigation? Tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember. I might be
So,
confusing different projects.
yeah, so we proposed mitigation in order to meet, well,
Right,
in order
the
to,
riverfront standards, right?
yeah, right.
Right. And
And
so that's in perpetuity is what I'm trying to say.
well, of course, that land will remain, unaltered in perpetuity.
Right.
But our monitoring is for the 3 years that the commission typically requires. Is that
Okay. Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Can I
Thank
jump in on the monitoring question? Because that's what my comment concerned.
Yeah. I'm done.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
David.
Yeah. Since this applicant proposed putting in saplings, much smaller size and much more quantity-wise, I wonder if we should change the survivability threshold, given that they are younger and more plentiful than a one-to-one replacement kind of approach. So just wanted to offer that thought.
So can you continue and tell us what you would suggest?
I guess since it's 2 to 1, you could go as low as 50% with trees, since they're not removing anything. But then, since it is mitigation, you might want to bump it higher. I mean, we have, I believe, 80% for other vegetation. Maybe make it match.
I would be okay with that, given that they're smaller and you'd expect maybe some die off.
So over
Because
3
usually
years,
we expect
80%.
100% for trees, but those are larger trees. Yeah.
So we're going to do 80% for the trees or these saplings, and 80% for any shrubs that are out there. More. Okay.
We
So that
appreciate
sounds
that.
like,
Thank you.
and it's for 3 years. Okay. So that's a condition. Any other conditions? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue.
I make a motion to issue a permit for 26 Dudley Street with the conditions discussed.
A second?
I'll second.
David White, seconds. I go right to Mike Gildas game.
Yes.
And Brian McBride.
Yes.
And David White.
Yes.
Susan Chapnick.
Yes.
And Chuck Teroni says yes. Okay.
And can I just add one thing? I'm sorry. I know we voted, but I just want to make clear that when we're voting, and in the previous one as well, we're voting to issue a permit under the Wetlands Protection Act as well as the Arlington bylaw. Just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Yeah, you could put that in your motion too. You could
I know, I forgot to. Yeah.
issue under the act and bylaw.
Right.
And then go, yeah, we could do that. We could make that the standard now.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Rich, Nicole, thank you. Santani, thank you. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a
Have a
lot.
good night.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye. All right. So on our agenda, we have open forum, executive session, and new business. I think I want to do open forum, new business, and then executive session. So anyone here tonight want to talk about something new that the commission should consider? Who's attending tonight's meeting? And if I don't see any hands, and I don't see any hands for that, any commissioners want to bring up something that we would want to address in the upcoming meetings or the upcoming agenda?
I won't be at the next meeting. So I know earlier we said we might have a topic that Brian and I would discuss, and then I forgot it was August 6th. I will not be here. So I don't know if we want to postpone that, Brian, or we should just, you and I can discuss it offline, and I think you can present it very well anyway.
Yeah.
With my support.
Why don't we go forward with that, Brian? That seems like it would be fine. It's have Brian present.
That sounds good. We don't want to wait. So
sounds good.
Sounds good.
So I guess new business is very similar to what we just did, but is there any new business that anyone wants to discuss here at who's attending tonight's meeting? Any new business from commissioners? Seeing none, I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna go to our.
I'm trying to raise my hand.
Oh, is that what you're
but-
doing? Sorry.
but
Yes.
Yeah, similar
I thought
to
that
the
was
other
a.
person, it wasn't letting me, so I clapped.
I was expecting to hear from you, Laura. So please take the floor and let us know.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I stepped out, so I literally just walked back in the door. But so I'm just getting my bearings for a second. But what I wanted to mention was I am completing a crowdsourced analysis of Hills Pond from data that is already available online from apps, and doing a cross-sectional analysis, looking at it in comparison to other ponds. And I'm writing up a report that I hope to have by the end of this month that I was going to submit to Concom and Parks and Rec. But just on a high level, I wanted to mention that from what I see, there is ample evidence that Hills Pond is very stressed ecologically, more so than other ponds in the Boston metro area of comparable size and shallowness. Both in terms of the biodiversity or the diversity of the fisheries is a lot more minimal than other ponds, but also the fish themselves are much more stunted in their sizing, which could likely be, and I'll know more as I complete the analysis, but it does seem that angling pressures are contributing to that. And it does seem that it is experiencing more angling pressure than other ponds of comparable size in the Boston metro area. So I wanted to submit that report, but the other thing I wanted to ask, which I'll be also mentioning in the report, is I'm not sure where Concom is in terms of like getting a biological assessment, but I was wondering if I could, under Save Arlington Wildlife, run my own assessment where we do DNA testing of the pond, which would just be taking water samples and sending it out to a lab for like DNA analysis to see what species are in the pond, to see if the sampling from the apps are reliable or if there's more fish than it's showing. And also maybe doing some camera work to see what we're seeing under the water. So that would be like doing, say, 3 days in a row of camera surveying under the surface of the water to see what fish we're seeing, if they look a certain way, etc. If I did that, the best time to do that would be the end of September or early October. So I realize that's only a couple months away, which is why I wanted to bring it up tonight.
Sure. I would say with that, it would be great to have that request written down so we
Yep.
have exactly what you're proposing.
Yep.
And I would say I don't see any problem with it, but I would add that the Park Recreation Committee would also need to know
Yep.
about
Yep.
this. Sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah, and when you finish your assessment, if you could come back and let the commission know the findings, that would be really nice.
Okay, yeah. So I hope to have it by the end of this month. And at the end of the report will be like what I'm asking in terms of to do in the fall to
Okay.
complement this.
And
Great.
also, Laura, if you need, I don't know if you have the Hills Pond reports, the annual reports that we get from Water and Waste. Do you get those? Have you been accessing those?
I've seen them. I haven't read through them yet.
Oh, okay. Because they should be online, or David
Okay.
Morgan can get them for you.
Okay.
And also, I would encourage you to share your report with the fishing line working group. I know if you give it to Park and Rec, maybe it goes there anyway because it's Natasha's group. But just specifically, it's very important for them to have that data. I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
Great.
All right,
Thank you
David
for
Morgan.
taking the initiative to do this.
Yeah, I actually thought of it because you showed me that app that I think someone from Fresh Pond showed you.
Yes.
And you can actually pull a lot of that data, and U.S.
Yeah.
Fish and Wildlife Service and NOAA have actually used that for their own analyses of fisheries. So I decided to just do that.
No, I
For now.
know. There's
Yeah.
so much out there, but somebody has to, like yourself, has to pull it all together and make sense of it. Yeah. Great. Thanks,
Great.
Laura.
Thanks.
Laura, just one quick comment. Keep in mind, if you're trying to get permission from two groups that meet
Yeah.
twice a month that have follow-up questions, you may have to hurry.
Yeah,
because
that's
time will
why I
go.
wanted to come on tonight, and I'm going to write Parks and
Good.
Rec and go, try to make their next meeting because, the timeline is tight.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you, Laura. And David took his hand down, David Morgan, so I'm sure that Brian McBride must have asked or answered or asked your
I'll
question.
just follow up with Laura separately. It's all good.
Sounds good. Let's move on. So that's that. And so right now we're going to, let me get the paperwork up. So, okay. So we're going to move into executive session. So in accordance with GLC 30A 21A3, the board will convene an executive session. I'm not sure I have to say this, but it's part of but to discuss the strategy respect to litigation, because to discuss that strategy in open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position that the public body and or chair so declares.